Today we will discuss the fourth problem from LeetCode Weekly Contest 357. This is the name of the problem. It was a not so hard greedy problem. So let me explain what the question states. So I am given uh, n items, right, and an integer k. Every item has two things: a profit value and a category, right? There can be n distinct categories, and it can have a profit value up to 10 to the power 9. So what I have to do is I have to select k items from these n items such that this value is maximized, right? So the value is total profit plus distinct categories, where total profit is nothing but the sum of profits of the selected k items, and distinct categories is the number of distinct categories in the k selected items. So we need to maximize this term, right? So the problem can be solved using a greedy approach. So let me straight away explain to you how do I solve it, right? So this is the term we have to maximize, right? So first, if we think in terms of like what is the maximum value for the first part of the expression we can obtain. So the maximum value for the profit we can obtain is we choose those k elements which have the maximum profit value, right? We sort the array by profit and we just choose the k values which have the highest profit value, right? This way we obtain the maximum possible profit, and distinct category will be also be some value which might not be maximum, might be maximum, right? So this is a value we can obtain, right? So we have done this by getting the maximum possible profit, right? Now we need to think how can we increase it, right? So the profit value will only get decreased if we try to choose some other permutation, right? So the only way we can increase it is by getting more distinct categories, right? So earlier if we had two categories, if I getting another category, the value of this term would become 9 instead of 4, right? So that's the only way, right? So now what we think is how do we increase the total number of distinct categories in the k chosen items, right? So let me explain how we think, explain you how we think about it, right? So right, so first thing is we check what is the maximum possible profit, right? That is already discussed, right? So now what we need to do is let's think this process of increasing the total expression value in steps, right? So what could be my steps, right? So first I have already chosen k elements, right? So I have to replace some elements by some other elements in in these k values, right? So I choose a item from these chosen items and remove it, and I choose an item from the non chosen items and bring it in, right? So there are two parts to it, right? Removing an element from the k chosen elements and bringing a new element, right? That is choosing a element from the non-selected element. So we will solve it in two parts, right? So let's first discuss which element, which item will we choose from the non-selected items, right? So from the non-selected items, first condition is that we will always select an item that brings in a new distinct category, right? If it brings a category that is only present, then this term would not increase, right? So that brings us no benefit, right? So we will always choose an item that brings in a new category in the expression, right? So this value would always increase in that case, right? So this is the first condition, right? A new category. So we also have a profit value to choose, right? Let's say we have items with available with category 4 and 5 and they have some profit, right? And both 4 and 5 are not present in my k chosen elements. So I can choose any of them, right? So I will always choose the one which has maximum profit, right? So here we only say that to the new item we will bring in, we will always choose the item so that it has a new category and should have maximum profit in that category, right? And as well as and should have maximum profit, right? So this is the thing. right? So the next part is which element we remove to bring in this element, right? So there will be case when let's say for category 1 I have two elements, two items in my k chosen elements, right? So what I will do is I will remove one of them, right? And similarly, let's say for category 3 I have three of them, right? So I have choice to remove two of them, right? And which two will I remove from those three? I will remove those two which have minimum profit, right? Because I want to keep the profit as well maximum, right? So this is the thing. So I will only remove those elements which have category occurring more than once, right? I will remove only ones which have more category occurring more than once, and from that group of item I will choose to remove those which provide me minimum profit, right? So this is the thing about removing example with an example will make it very clear, right? So let me explain this. So let's say this is the uh, these are the items we have. This is the profit and this is their category, right? So k value for me is 4, right? So first step, as I told you, these are sorted by profit. I straight away choose the largest profit first, four items, right? So my sum here becomes 34, right? And my distinct categories are 2, so that would be 2 square, that is 4. So I obtain a value of 38 here. Okay, so now I have a value, right? So now what I can do here, is I can remove some of these items, right? And bring in some new items in place of them from here, right? So which would I remove and which would I not remove, and which can I bring in and which I cannot bring in? Let's discuss that, right? So let's first discuss which can I remove and which I cannot remove, right? If we see, there are two elements with category 1 and similarly two elements with category 2, right? So I can remove one element with category from category 1 and one from category 2, right? So which one should I remove from these two, right? So I will always remove the one which gives me minimum profit, right? So this is the one, right? So I can remove this one. Similarly, from category 2 I will always remove this one because it gives me least profit, right? So I have these two choices to remove, and among these what will be my priority, right? So my priority will be always to remove this one, 7 and 2, right? Why? Because it gives me minimum profit out of these two, right? So my priority of removing will be like this, right? Let's see now how will I choose to bring in new elements, right? So first I will choose only those categories that I already don't have, right? So I don't have 3, I don't have 4, right? So I am eligible to choose a item with category 3, and from category 4 I have two choices, right? Which I can bring in, right? But I will always choose to bring in an item which gives me maximum profit, right? So I can choose this and I cannot choose this, right? Right, so these are the choices, but out of these two, which one will I prefer to choose? So both of them brings in a new category for me, right? That's the same thing, but this one gives me maximum profit, right? So I will always choose this one first, right? So this will be my priority, right? So here my priority goes like this, right? So I will always choose this one first, then this one, right? So this is the thing. So now let's dry run the complete thing. What is the maximum score that I can obtain, right? So let's try removing an element and bringing a new element, right? So as I told you, my priority for removing is like this. So first I will remove this element, right? So now my profit becomes 34 minus 7, that is 27, right? And now I bring in a new element, that is this. So now my profit becomes 27 plus 6, that is 33, right? So my profit is 33. And earlier I had two categories, 1 and 2, and now also I have two categories, plus I have added another category, that is 3. So my categories are now 3, so it will be 3 square 9, right? So it is actually nothing but 42, right? So my profit has my the total term has increased, right? So this was one step, right? So now let's move to the second step. In second step I will remove another element, and I have only just one element available to remove, so I remove this. My profit now becomes 33 minus 9, right? That is 33 plus 9, and I will include this element, 33 minus 9 plus 5, right? That is nothing but a minus 4, right? So my profit becomes 29. And how many categories do I have now? I have 1, 2, 3, and I have also included 4 now, right? So I have 4 categories, so it becomes 16, right? So this sum becomes nothing but 1545, right? So you see, I have increased my total expression even more, right? So this is the maximum I can obtain, and the elements I have chosen is this. This has been removed, this, and this, right? So this is the way I can obtain the maximum expression value, right? So it is a bit uh, difficult to implement as well. So let's see how do I implement this, right? So uh, first thing is that I need to get all the selected elements, right? So let's say this represents all the selected items that are included in my first k chosen items, right? So this I fill in this. Okay, I fill in this, and let this represent all the elements that I have not selected, and I will uh, choose them, so that from every category that I have in those not chosen elements, I will pick up the category element from that category that gives me maximum profit, right? As we discussed, right? And only one item from each category, and that category should not be repeated, right? That category should even not be present in the selected result, right? It should not be in the selected result, and in non-selected selected as well, right? So this way I fill this, right? So now I have both of my results, right? And what do these results represent? The first represent this, and the second represents this, right? Now I need to uh, do this procedure that I did here, right? Removing one element and adding one, right? So I come here, I uh, pro- uh, loop over both the arrays, right? And I decrease my profit, that is, I remove element from here, and then my category increases by 1 because I'm adding a new category, and my profit also increases by some value, that is, I'm adding element similar to this, right? So this way I have a new possible result that I can obtain, right? And I take the maximum of my present result and that result, right? This way I'm able to obtain a result, right? So this is the solution to this problem.